Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name's John Gardner, and I'm here to introduce you to the third in our series of coffee break webinars. This webinar is entitled Introducing Jet Enterprise, and we're going to have 15 to 20 minutes to give a quick overview of the capabilities of Jet Enterprise and the business case for going down the BI business intelligence route. Before we move on, I need to make 3 points, if I may. Please can I ask everybody to ensure that microphones are muted, and that will minimize any background noise. And because of the short time, we're not going to allow any questions, but my contact details will be provided at the end, and there will be also a very brief questionnaire which you can complete once the webinar is concluded, and that will allow you to put in any information requests that you might have. Finally, this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on our website along with the previous 2 webinars, one on Jet Essentials and one on Credit Hound. So let's move on. The feedback we've received from a number of clients has indicated that there's an element of confusion as to the naming of the Jet Reports product. Once upon a time, it was nice and simple, just one company and one product, Jet Reports. Today we have one company, but we have 3 products. All are official Microsoft Office add-ins, and all use Office 2003 and above, but our strong recommendation in all cases is that the Jet Reports products work best in the Excel 2010 and above environment, where the extra data handling capacity and the presence of the new slicer technology, more about that later, makes a huge improvement to the usability of the reporting function, especially when designing dashboard type reports. Jet Express is the baby of the trio. In many ways, it's a cut down and limited functionality version of Jet Essentials. But those who don't have Jet Essentials already, and there are a few, then this is a free to download option from Microsoft for anyone using NAV 2009. It is NAV 2009 specific, and it is predominantly to supplement the standard account schedules functionality that exists in NAV 2009. Jet Essentials is the old Jet Reports, which has now been renamed. From Jet Essentials, one can connect to almost any database or data warehouse, be it NAV, CRM, indeed SAP or Oracle, as long as there's a SQL, ODBC or OLAP connectivity, Jet can connect. In the context of this audience, it's predominantly NAV, but we are finding it increasingly used for CRM, and indeed within Cambridge Online we're using Jet Essentials for most of our CRM reporting. The power of Jet Essentials is based not only on its ability to access all the data in a database, or indeed in multiple databases, but also in its ability to schedule reports and then to direct them immediately by email to individually predefined recipients lists. The positioning here is essentially, if you pardon the pun, for management information. Jet Enterprise moves into the space above or alongside management information, into a space called BI, where the relationship with the data is more interactive and predominantly more screen-based. This is the land of KPIs. Traditionally, BI has been seen as the domain of the large corporate entities and therefore as being very expensive. Traditionally, the expense in BI has been in the front-end viewers, but what Jet Reports have done is to replace the viewer with the excellent pivot table and chart functionality of Excel 2010 in particular, coupled it with 6 pre-built offline data cubes and a data warehouse for NAV to provide a solution that can be rolled out very quickly and very cost effectively. And in terms of a quick rollout, by way of example, we'd had one client last year who had a specific business requirement for a BI implementation. They saw Jet Enterprise for the first time on the Wednesday, and it was fully implemented by the close of play on the Friday, when the members of the senior management team needed to leave for Hong Kong to meet their new investors. It is worth talking about the Jet Enterprise schema, and it is important to understand from the outset that Jet Enterprise is based around an offline Microsoft SQL database dedicated to BI reporting. Jet Enterprise data does not come from the live database. The diagram here is a slight oversimplification, but it is possible to tune SQL servers and the software that runs on its databases. It would be no surprise that NAV is tuned for transaction processing, capturing data and writing it quickly to the database. This kind of tuning does not necessarily sit well with fast reporting, which requires a completely different kind of software and tuning. Jet Enterprise, as we can see here, comprises two elements. The data warehouse, which brings together all the required tables and fields and builds all the links between the two. This removes the need to build the links within the reports themselves, as we currently do with Jet Essentials. And this is all pre-built and fully optimized. The data cubes take the warehouse structures, but as the data is imported from NAV, so all the calculations, subtotaling and totaling for both monetary values and quantities on a day, month, quarter and year basis are done at the same time. These two factors taken together and used in conjunction with Microsoft Excel 2010 means that reports can be generated with no table links and minimal calculation required. So reports run much faster, so much so that they can become almost completely interactive. So the key points about Jet Enterprise to bear in mind are as follows. It's quick. It's very quick. While the data is necessarily offline, it can be updated on a regular basis, at least each evening, and possibly also during the day if required. Dashboards and KPI monitoring becomes much easier. All this is achieved using Microsoft Excel 2010, functionality that most people in the organization already know. Pivot table and pivot chart functionality is standard, and whilst those skills might need some brushing up, most people do at least know the basics. Out of the box, Jet Enterprise comes with 6 data warehouse and 6 data cubes, already pre-configured to receive data from NAV. The 6 data cubes comprise functionality in the following key areas of the business: accounts payable, accounts receivable, finance, purchasing, inventory and sales. The key point here is that an organization can be up and running very quickly and indeed, and although we won't have time in this session today, it is comparatively easy to add additional tables and fields to existing cubes and also to build new cubes if there are areas of special customization within NAV. While it's not recognized as an upgrade for Jet Essentials, existing users of Jet Essentials will be able to connect to the data warehouse and the cubes as well as the live database. In essence, this will allow the management teams and users to have the type of reports that best reflects their role and their mode of working. Time precludes me from opening and closing individual reports, so I've taken the liberty of putting up 3 reports to show what is possible using MS Office 2010. All 3 reports have the slicers clearly shown. Effectively, these are filter buttons that one can press to see different views of the data. I'm sure you will all agree that these reports look very attractive, high impact and high information. I want to take the opportunity to show you Jet Enterprise in action and to introduce you to our demonstration company, Festival Few Foods. Here we are in a clean Excel 2010 spreadsheet. I need to connect to my data cubes. And the first point of contact is to decide which cube I'm going to connect to. And I'm going to connect to the sales cube in this instance. The first thing I want to do is to very, very quickly explain the layout. These are all the measures and the fields that we can use for our report. And I'm just going to literally drag data in to where we want to have it on our screen. So we have sales amount. I can then bring in, let's say, a cost. And this is the total value of sales since day one, total costs since day one, the profit, and the percentages. And this is all information quickly coming from the database, and it's just a complete summary of the data that we have available. I would like to see that data by my business categories, and I'm going to find my global dimension one. And immediately you can start to see how interactive this data can be. If I just change the resolution of the screen, it makes it a little bit easier to see. But we can see straight off that we can break our business down by, this case, business categories. And indeed, I can take that off, and maybe I can bring it in now by looking at it by sales. That's better. So now we can see our business by the product categories that we can sell. And even within here, I can sort on these products so that we can show perhaps, let's say, the most profitable products in terms of what they're contributing to our organization, or indeed what they've contributed over the years. Further down, we can have a look and we can see what it's happened over time rather than as a complete situation. And I'm going to bring in at this point some year data from the posting date. So now on a year-by-year basis, we're able to see not only the sales amounts for each year, but the cost amount, and if I scroll across, the profit and the profit percentages. And I can change that round so we have a different view of it, so that year by year by year, we can see the sales, the cost. And the point is here that we're moving around huge amounts of data. The last thing I wanted to do was to basically create a top 10 report for this data. So what we can do here now is filter top 10, and we want to filter in this instance by profit. Click on OK. And what I will do also is move the year data. So now we can see the contribution that's made by our top 10 product groups. I'm going to remove the options here just to show you how easy it all is to change. And what we're going to do is bring in our customers so that you can see just how quick and how much data we can handle. You'll see here that almost instantly we've brought in some 5,500 customers and their total sales since day one. And this is what I meant before when I was talking about it being interactive and very, very easy to use. So we will sort from high to low. We'll sort by sales amount. And indeed, what we will also do is we will create our top 10 again by sales amount. And so what we start to build up here is a very, very easy working solution to our business being able to identify the problems and any issues that we may have. So I'm just going to quickly now introduce you to the slices functionality in here. First of all, let's bring in a chart and we'll show our top 10. We can start to create, this is the beginning of our front dashboard. We can change the format and we can widen the format. Just move everything slightly so we can present it better. And then I'm going to introduce you from there to the slicers. So options, slicers. And we're going to bring in 3 slicers for this particular presentation. First is I'm going to find my global dimension 1, my global dimension 2, and then further down I'm going to bring in my year data and my quarter data. So year and quarter, and click on OK. Now the first thing I'm going to do is bring my dimensions across to the right. So this is my global dimension 1. I'm going to sort of quickly change this so that we can have a few more columns and see a bit more data. Just extend it so it fits nicely into the position. So these are my global dimensions. I'm going to just rename that. So this is business class. And to the right, I'm going to move my year data and my quarter data. And I'm just going to change the resolution of the screen a little bit here just to try and squeeze that in. That's good. And I can line these up a bit better later. And I'm also going to bring in my product data. And we'll just make a quick change here so we can see more columns. Again, we'll do 3 columns and we can widen this. Now the key point about these slicers is that they are completely interactive. So here I have my top 10, and it may be that what I want to do is see my top 10 in my arena businesses. Clicking on that immediately changes the view of this, what we have. I could click on zoos. Over here on the right, I can click on which year we maybe want to look at. 2011. So my zoos in 2011 were delivering this level of business. In 2012, well, 2012 is only part, so 2010, the comparative information is as follows. And I can break that down, as you can see here, by quarter. So quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. And I can change this now completely so that what we can look at is how our, let's say, sausage business was doing and what our top sales of sausages might have been. So here within the one screen, we're able to completely interact with our data and get a level of knowledge and pick up trends and understand what's going on far better than we might have been able to do before. And that's something that BI provides for you. It's that level of interaction and that level of understanding. So finally, we move on to looking at the benefits, and they can be summarized very much as follows. The ability to monitor on screen the key metrics of the business and to ask key questions of them at the same time. Because the data warehouse builds the data, there's no table linking and corresponding data errors likely. So the information we see basically on the screen is as good as it will ever get. It's high impact, high visual, quick messages, and lots of transparency within and around the organisation for those who want to use it. The easy analysis of not only the trends but of the underlying causes and reasons will or should lead to improved planning and forecasting going forward. Better information in, better information out. The ability to slice and dice the data and the ability to be interactive with the reports adds a whole new level to the quality of information, not just being received, but also that can be given out around the organisation. And finally, one more benefit that's not mentioned here is the exceptional value that Jet Enterprise represents. What you're paying for is the data warehouse and the pre-built data cubes, and then leveraging the functionality of Excel 2010, rather than paying for the expensive legacy viewer capability. They have their place for sure in the larger corporates, but Jet Enterprise is certainly the place to be for the rest of us. So finally, thank you. Thank you for watching this webinar. As always, I've enjoyed doing it immensely, and please, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me and/or complete the questionnaire at the very end. There is lots of information on the Jet Reports website and some really good videos too, so that you can have a full taster there at your own leisure or with your afternoon cup of tea. I've been persuaded to run a Jet Enterprise workshop for those of you who are interested. Thursday the 30th of August here in Cambridge, 9:30 till 12:30. If you're back from your holidays or not been lucky enough to get away, please do come and join us. Drop me an email or give me a call. The workshops we ran following the early webinars on Jet Essentials and Credit Hound were very successful, and I think we can have quite a fun session with this. Finally, there'll be no coffee break in August. Some of us have to take our holidays and get to find some decent weather. But I will be back on Thursday the 20th of September to look at electronic document delivery and capture using ZetaDocs. And with that, I'll say thank you once again. Wish you all a very happy summer. The weather forecast is looking good, and look forward to our next webinar together in September. Thank you for your time, and goodbye.